Hey guys, it's Cheryl from Vegan Growth. I haven't been here in a couple days and I'm just going to explain to you why. I actually have a lot of topics that I want to talk about, so those will be coming up hopefully in the near future. Um, but the one reason I haven't made videos is because, so the other day I had a seizure. Now, I've told you before, I have epilepsy and I actually am really well controlled on my medication, but my doctor has wanted me to try and get off my medication, one of my medications. There were two of them actually that she wanted me to get off. One of them she wanted me to switch from one medication to another, and then another one she just wanted me to completely get off of. So both medications I was like, no, this is not going to happen. Um, But the first medication, I had been taking a medication called Depakote, and she wanted to start me on Keppra. And we really weren't completely sure whether it was going to work or not, simply because when I took Keppra in the past, I did have seizures, but it was also because, um, well, I wasn't also on the other medication that I was on, that I've been on. But I also didn't take it, all the time, and but now that I'm older, I'm very wise about taking my medication every single time. And so this second medication that she wanted me to come off of, so I was able to switch, and everything's been going well. Um, but this second medication, it's called Klonopin or clonazepam, and more people know it as for people who take it for like bipolarism or some type of mental problem, but it's also really used to help seizures. And I found that it really helped me. It's when I started taking it, it's supposed to really help with the grand mal seizures, so the seizures that you probably have heard about a lot. But it actually really helps for me because I twitch. If I'm not controlled, my whole body can twitch, and it's technically a seizure. Um, it's not a grand mal seizure, but they're still little tiny seizures. And I found that it really helped out that, even though it actually is not said to help out that kind of seizure. They're called myoclonus. Um, and yeah, it's not really said. It can actually make it worse, but I found that it actually helps make it better, my twitches. So anyway, um, long story short, I started noticing that I was going to run out, and it's easy to get a refill. The only problem was when I looked at my bottle, I probably had about 4 left, and so I could have called in a refill. The problem was it was under an old doctor's neurologist's name. So I was going to a male neurologist in the past, and I had talked to him about being interested in getting pregnant. And so he referred me to a female neurologist that would know more about pregnancy and influences on drugs during pregnancy and such. So I started going to her probably late fall or something like that in 2014. So she got me off one of my medications and onto another one called Keppra. I was still taking Klonopin, but she did want me to go solo on one medication, and that's really the best. Um, all neurologists want that when, if you're interested in getting pregnant, they want you to try to be on one medication. And I was just, again, I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. um, I just didn't think it was going to work. So I never really went down, and I never really like started getting less and less, but um, I realized that I was low on my medication, my Klonopin, And she wanted me to get off of it anyway, and it was under my old doctor's name, so if I tried getting a refill, I wouldn't be able to get a refill because it's under my old doctor's name. I'd have to call them and it'd be this long process. And I'd have to wait for my new female doctor to hopefully prescribe it to me. So I cut it in half, my dosage, and I was able to do that for about 3 or 4 days where I was taking only one pill a day. I usually take 2 pills. Um, and what happened was I eventually ran out. I called my neurologist and I was talking to the receptionist because she's busy, but I told them that I need a new prescription, that it used to be under my old doctor's name, and that I really need the prescription. I haven't really gone down as much as I should have. Um, and so I told them, please have her send a refill request to my pharmacy. So I don't know when she refilled it. This was about uh, I ran out the last dosage that I took was on a Sunday morning or something. Um, and um, and then I called my doctor and I didn't pick it up right away because I was feeling a little tired. I had been picking my daughter up uh, in the morning because she has off this week. It's spring break. So um, she had day camp for 3 days, for gymnastics camp, I should say. And so she was going in the morning every day for 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. She had it at night as well on Monday and Wednesday because those were her normal hours. And so Tuesday I thought about picking it up, but um, to see if actually Tuesday was when I called. Tuesday was when I called. And so I didn't know if it would be ready. Um, right away. I didn't know if she would have called it in. And I was also tired. I wanted to come back. I picked up my daughter in the like around 11 or 12, and that was me getting like 3 hours of sleep because I worked overnight during the weekend and Monday overnight. So picking her up on Tuesday around 11, I got about 3 hours of sleep. We got something to eat and then came back home and I tried napping and taking a little bit of a rest. And um, I couldn't rest. I had usually when I'm on my medication, I have like um, all this. I'm tired. I'm tired when I'm on my medication. Uh, you may see me a lot of times as tired, and it's just simply because of the medication. Because when I wasn't on it, Tuesday and even Wednesday, I had all this energy. Like I slept for 3 hours Tuesday morning before I picked up my daughter, and I couldn't nap after that. I'm usually really good at coming home and getting a nap in, and it's easy for me, but I just could not nap. And that whole day, that whole night, I had the most energy I've had in years, simply because I hadn't been taking my medication for the past like 2 days. Um, so I decided, so on Tuesday that night, we put down my daughter to go to sleep. My husband and I watched a movie, and then after we were done with the movie, we just kind of sat down on the couch before we were going to go to bed. And I was relaxing a little bit and I started getting my twitches, which I haven't gotten in, I can't even remember how long it's been. It's been a long time because I've been controlled. And I knew something was wrong. I felt something was wrong. And it was unusual that I had all this energy in me. I loved it, but at the same time, it's like I'm having twitches, and that's not good for someone who has epilepsy. So, and I just felt a little off. Like, I felt a little off. So, I just wanted to get in bed and hopefully the next day see if my medicine was ready. But I didn't make it to the next day. So, we must have walked in the bedroom gonna get ready for bed, and I just ended up collapsing into a grand mal seizure. And for me, they don't last very long. I'm very lucky. They don't only last probably 30 to 60 seconds. Although for whoever is around me, like my husband, he thought it lasted forever. Um, it's, very traumatic and hard to have anybody see me have seizures. Um, but yeah, I had my seizure, and for most of you, you probably think, well, you have this idea of what goes on and what happens after a seizure, but it's totally different. Um, for me, I don't. There's been a lot of talk of how when people have seizures, they urinate themselves and stuff like that, and that doesn't happen for me. Um, the only really thing that happens is, of course, the person is tired. I am tired. Um, I'm confused. I don't know what day it is. I usually end up finding like knowing what happened because I'm on the floor and I'm tired. I'm not feeling well. Another big thing is that I throw up. And while this may be a little personal, yeah, I throw up and I feel sick. So um, it's not the most fun thing. Um, and it takes a lot of energy out of you because when you're having your seizure for 30 to 60 seconds, you're using every muscle in your body. Every muscle is twitching, and so that's why you're so tired afterwards. And so those are really the only three things I get confused as well. I actually asked my husband because he had a couple years ago when we were first married, he had double pneumonia, and as well as the coronavirus, he was in ICU for a long time, and he ended up losing a couple of his toes. And I don't know, usually I remember all the big things, what's going on. I obviously know who my husband is. Um, and it takes me a couple minutes to come to and, what's going on. But I asked him, I'm like, what happened to your toes? Because he had like 8 of them partially. Um, they he had taken him. They had given him a medicine where all the blood went up to his major organs because he was in septic shock. So his nose started going black, his fingers started going a little black, and his toes started going a little black. Luckily, all the circulation came back in his fingers, his nose, but about 8 of his toes, um, the tips of them died, and the tissue just died. And so they waited as long as they could to have them just kind of fall off on their own. And some of them did, and some of them didn't. So he did have to have surgery for the rest of the dead tissue of his other toes that didn't fall off. So they had him wait for self amputation. Yeah. So I'm used to him not having toes, and it was a huge thing in the past, and I can't believe I couldn't remember because um, I had asked him apparently what happened to your toes. I don't know why I wouldn't remember something that big, but sometimes it happens. So I ended up taking my first medication that I went off of that is very strong medication and it works. It helps out. It doesn't do the twitches, it kind of helps, but I actually think the Klonopin helps out with my twitches even more, the medicine that I'm taking right now. And it's also just less harmful on my body. Um, the Depakote makes me extremely tired, more than any other medication. And it can have very harmful side effects. That was the big one that we wanted me to get off because it's Class D medication for pregnancy. And so that was a good one to be able to get off of. But the Klonopin, I don't know if I'm going to be able to ever get off that one. So we'll see. Um, so yeah, that's what has been going on. I've been kind of resting, trying to get back to normal. My husband stayed home the other day so that he could help, you know, pick up my daughter from gymnastics camp and then take her back again later that night. And so that I wouldn't have to go anywhere. And so, yeah, that's what's been going on with me. And I have a lot of videos that I do want to make, so stay tuned for them. This is not the only one, but you know, hopefully you guys stay healthy and hopefully I get back to normal. And I felt a lot better once I did pick up my prescription. So my doctor did refill it, and I took it right away, and it took maybe a couple hours. It wasn't like right into effect, but maybe like 2 hours or something for it to kick in and help with my twitches, because I was still sort of having some twitches a little bit now and then. But I'm feeling a lot back to normal. Yesterday I had a lot of energy, but today I'm a little tired. And I think that's probably because I'm now taking my medication again. Um, but yeah, it was great having the energy while I had it, but then again, I'd rather not have seizures. That's the one thing. Or, my twitches. So, living with it is kind of hard. Living with epilepsy can be a little hard, but, and like I said, there's no diet, there's nothing that would really cure it other than medication would just control it. So, I wish I wish that diet would help control it, but really it's it's not going to. As I said in my previous video about having epilepsy. So I hope you guys stay well and have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.